thing now we can go to look at is actually getting ready for missing data analysis and getting your head around the missing data that is in your data. So once you've done your trial, once you've finished your trial and you have the data in front of you, you need to explore it first and just see the shape of the missing data, and is there any relationships between different variables and the missing data out there. So I'm just going to close out of this now and turn to SOLAS. So this is SOLAS here, and this is our statistical missing data tool. So SOLAS is oriented around imputation as a method for dealing with missing data. And again, it's a quite easy to use tool. We definitely engineered the interface around enabling not just statistical users but also clinicians and also I won't say non-quant users, but people who are not familiar with day-to-day coding of statistical algorithms and statistical models. So this is a very interface-based product. So I'm just going to open up a data set here. As you can see, it's quite in a kind of a spreadsheet format. And this is a very rudimentary example here just to give you the gist of it. So we've got four variables here, and we've got 500 cases roughly. We've recorded age of the patient, their BMI, hypertension, and cholesterol levels. And as you can see here, there's missing data dotted throughout the data set. So when exploring the missing data, the first thing you want to do is just to see the missing data pattern. And we have a drop-down menu here for this. So you go to View and Missing Data Pattern. And as you can see here, the interface is very drag and drop. So you just pick up the variables you want and you drop them into the boxes that you want them to go to. So I've just taken the variables into the variables to display box here. I'm going to click OK. And now we get a new window opened with a kind of a cell-by-cell breakdown of the data set. Here we can see that the blue dots or the blue cells represent missing data points and the white cells represent observed. And we can scroll down through this missing data view pattern to see the different data points. But if you have quite a large data set, this is can be quite cumbersome, so we can collapse this down into a summary table where across the top we have the 1, 2, 3, and 4, the variable names, and on the columns here we have the summarized cases or patients. So we can see here, for example, we have of the 500, we have 358 fully observed cases. We have 72 cases with this particular missing pattern. We have 20 cases of this particular, and so on. So this is a very handy tool for just exploring initially the missing data pattern and how missing data has cropped up in the trial or the study. Another thing you can do here is split up the data into what we call a monotone or non-monotone missing pattern, and this is important for the next step, which I'll be talking about in our next webinar, which will be getting ready for imputation and getting ready for missing data analysis. So I'll just show you here briefly, but I won't get bogged down on this topic. So I've just now rearranged this table so that we can optimize for monotone and non-monotone patterns. As you can see here, the green is the non-monotone cells and red is monotone. And as you can see here, we've moved column 4 up to the second column. So essentially what we've done is we've just moved around the rows and columns so that we can create this maximized missingness pattern here and then this minimized missing pattern here. And what we do in SOLAS is we tackle these missing data points first, the non-monotone, so that we have as much information as possible to tackle these. Because you can see here that this data point has the least amount of information around it. Okay, but I'll be talking about this stuff in more detail at the next webinar when we're talking about looking at getting ready for imputation and missing data analysis. essentially this is the table that's quite interesting in just exploring the missing data and seeing how much have you observed and how much are you missing and where is it missing. We can also do some plotting. So in SOLAS we have various plots, various assumption checking as well as descriptive plotting. But we have this one plot here called a margin plot, which is slightly different, and essentially it's an expanded scatter plot. So I'll show you an example here. I'll plot BMI versus cholesterol, and again, as you can see, it's quite a very easy to use drag and drop system. You click OK, and what we've got here is essentially a scatter plot where the blue dots on the plot here are observed cases for both cholesterol and BMI, and then if you look down into the axes here or in the margins, you can see that we've got red dots. So on the x-axis here, this red dot signifies a value, observed value for cholesterol, but a missing corresponding value for BMI. And because there might be several red dots on top of each other, I can click on the actual individual values here, but because there may be several red dots on top of each other, what we've given here is just below that are two box plots. The red box plot illustrates the distribution of the missing data points, and the blue box plot illustrates the distribution of the observed. And this is quite a useful tool for just analyzing side by side the distributions of both missing and observed. We can also then modify this plot to, say if you wanted to break it down by a categorical or grouping variable. So in this data set, the age variable is a categorical variable where you got age is equal to 1, 2, and 3 different groups. And I can first, I'll just click OK. I can first split this up by different colors and symbols. So I've got blue circles, orange diamonds, and green squares for the different groups 1, 2, and 3. Or I can actually split this up by separate graphs. So then I can have 3 separate margin plots side by side. And what I'm doing here is I'm illustrating the different missing data relationships between BMI and cholesterol for the different age groups. So again, this is a very useful tool for analyzing the relationship between several variables and the missingness that has occurred. So these are very simple, easy to understand exploratory tools that you can use just simply by graphing alone in SOLAS before you tackle any missing data analysis. I think the final thing I just want to show you here as well is this is an imputed data set. I made 10 imputations, and at the bottom here you can see I've got 10 tabs, one for each data set, and these are now complete data sets. This is a different data set actually, by the way, but I just want to show you one thing is once you've actually done imputation, you can view this is a scatter plot of 2 variables against each other. You can actually view the missing data points that you've imputed. So here we've got the red triangles are the imputed data points and blue are the observed, and I can actually overlay the 10 imputed data points on top of one graph. So again, this is a very easy to use visual display of the imputed data points once you've done imputation and missing data analysis. Okay, so that's just what I wanted to cover there in SOLAS in terms of exploratory missing data analysis.